Good morning, viewer. Biendas here. It's a breaking news. Yeah, researchers found that global attitudes correlate with language, revealing that implicit biases are often mirrored in AI models like ChatGPT. The study suggests that to address these biases, a focus on the cultural transmissions of language is necessary. In a new study published June 14 in the journal Social Psychological and Personality Science, researchers share evidence that people's attitudes are deeply woven into language and culture across the globe and centuries. The researchers looked at connections between people's attitudes and language from 55 different topics like rich versus poor, dogs versus cats, or love versus money. They used four text sources: current English writing and text, English books going back 200 years, and text in 53 languages other than English. Yeah, as a measure of people's attitudes, they used data from over 1 lakh Americans. First, direct self-reports, and second, and indirect measures based on a people's reactions times, often referred to a implicitly measures attitudes. They found that the associations picked up by large AI language models like ChatGPT match more closely with the second indirect measures rather than the attitudes they explicitly state. With the rise of AI and large language model applications, we as consumers, leaders, researchers, or policymakers need to understand what these models are representing about the social world, says lead author Dr. Tessa Charlesworth of Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management. Yeah, do they have obvious, explicit preferences, or do they have more hidden patterns of associations more akin to implicitly measured attitudes? Mitigating these subtle biases in AI will require different approaches than looking for explicit biases rather than auditing the models at the end of to see if they show obvious explicit bias. Yeah, we'll likely need to dig deeper into the patterns in the training data itself and provide alternative examples of associations, says Dr. Charles Roth. More broadly, the data show that implicitly measured attitudes were revealed in and perhaps reinforced by language, which is a key vehicle of transmitting culture, notes Dr. Charles Roth. As such, if we want to durably address and reduce implicit bias in society, we likely need interventions that adopt a more cultural or macro level focus. While emphasizing the correlational nature, the researchers aim to continue exploring socio-cultural influences. Given that we saw some variation in which of the non-English languages showed the correlation, it is important to understand what kind of social and cultural factors could help explain greater transmission between bias and language, says Dr. Charles Ward. Beyond this exclusive report.